I think that one of the key aspects that most business owners pay very little attention to is the mindset of an entrepreneur. I think it's a sad thing that most companies that have been operating for 5, 10, 20 years even, unfortunately start to hit this glass ceiling where they're turning over, give or take the same amount of monies, making give or take the same amount of EBITDA profit year on year on year. And for most people, it's reacting to what's being thrown at them by customers, by competitors, and the marketplace itself. This time of the year is the time of the year to stop and calibrate. What did you get right? Why did you get that right? For what reason? What were the things that you wanted to achieve that you didn't achieve? Why did you not achieve those things? If you had your time again, what would you do differently in order to get a different result? It truly is around the mindset that differentiates the average from the extraordinary. And I think if you've had a tough year, that's okay. That's how we become stronger. That's how we become more knowledgeable. That's how we become better at what it is that we do. And I think if you can stop for enough time to calibrate on the things that work, the things that didn't work, what's happening on the landscape, and what you truly, truly want to achieve over the next 1, 2, 3 years, you've got a much better chance of going into the year, not like New Year resolutions, I'm going to give up smoking, become thin, or whatever that might be. I think it's about becoming wealthier. And wealthier, by most people's terms, is really around choice, i.e. you've got the resources to choose to do what you want to do when you want to do that. It doesn't actually take millions and millions, but it does take a degree of success over and above what your operating costs are at home and for the business. So I think all success is reverse engineered. I've been talking about this for over a decade now, because from my experience, growing a business is the riskiest thing that you can do. To reverse engineer an outcome, much, much easier, because if you say, right, in 3 years' time, I want to sell my business for X. Okay, great. Now the thing to do is to work out what is it really worth today in order to get the gap, the difference between what it's worth and what you want it to be. So if using simple numbers, you said, I want to sell my business for £1 million, euros, dollars, whatever that may be. But at the moment, it's worth half that. It's worth 500 grand. Okay, now we know what the gap is, that 500K. So we can divide down the 36 months by the number of milestone steps that we need to hit in order to get it to that valuation. Does that make sense? Good. So I know it sounds unbelievably simple, but it is simple, but most people don't do that. It's common sense, but that's not common either. So I think if you want to have a certain level of income, reverse engineer what that income is by saying, okay, I'm going to get my overheads down to an absolute minimum and throw all of my energy into creating the profit that I need on a month-by-month basis, so that by the end of the year, I've got X amount in the bank, as it were. So the mind behind success, what you think is true. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, as the old saying goes, is true. But you can change things. You can become so much more than you were last year, because every day you've got a brand new sheet of paper. But it starts with reverse engineering what that ultimate outcome and what your real goals are. Hope that helps. Talk to you soon.